We are reading through the book of Genesis this month as a congregation. It's the beginning of the year. Why not work through the beginning of the Bible here? And it is a very foundational book for Christianity, for Judaism, for Muslims. It's key. So today I want to talk a little bit about Genesis 11. I've been sharing video clips, not trying to go in depth. That would take volumes and volumes, hours, days, weeks, months, but just giving some things to think about. And today I want to look at the Tower of Babel incident that we see in Genesis 11. The people said, they came together, come, let us make for ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord says, if as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. So the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. And that is why it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused their language from the whole world. And from there, the Lord scattered them over the whole earth. This is a big incident. Now, it clearly has worked because people today don't work together so well. There are so many different factions of pick any religion, Christianity, Judaism, whatever, that they don't get along. Even outside of religion, in the world, countries don't get along so great. Pick up any newspaper and you'll see that. So being scattered and having language change certainly had the desired effect. What's going on here? We see sin in a lot of different ways here. Now, we don't know the location of the Garden of Eden, but most people, most experts would say it was in the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, between in the area of Euphrates and the Tigris River. Very fertile for sustaining life, for growing crops, all that stuff. And the Tower of Babel was probably in that same region. Again, we don't know for sure, but it makes sense. God brought Abram from Ur to that land of Canaan, and Ur is in that area, the Fertile Crescent. Now, religions and cultures throughout the ancient Near East, mountains were a place where gods were believed to descend or to appear or to dwell. In the Bible alone, we see not only in this incident, why are they trying to go high? Because they're trying to seek out God. They're trying to be like God. Boy, that sounds familiar with Adam and Eve wanting from the tree of knowledge to be like God, the serpent says. So they're trying to seek out God, to be like God, to reach up to the heavens, to reside where God dwells, to go find God. And it happens on mountains often. Genesis 22, Abraham and Isaac went to sacrifice to God on Mount Moriah. Exodus 18, where God is with Moses, where he gets the 10 Commandments, is on Mount Sinai. 1 Kings 18, when Elijah calls down fire from God, is on Mount Carmel. Matthew 17, with Jesus, Peter, James, and John, the transfiguration occurred up on a mountain. And it's not just in Christianity and Judaism we see that, it's all sorts of religions. The Temple of Baal is built on the summit of Mount Zaphon. Or we all studied Greek mythology in high school when the gods lived on Mount Olympus. So it's normal for people to look for God in high places. They look to high places to try and connect to God. And we see in the ancient Near East, in this Mesopotamian region, is structures called ziggurats. They're similar in appearance to a pyramid, except on the top that would have been flat. That was where gods would supposedly come down from on high and be with people, this flat top. Different from pyramids, which ended at a point and was more for a burial chamber. So they're trying to be like God. And as we already know from the Garden of Eden, God doesn't like that. God says, look, I am God and you're not. I have the knowledge, the wisdom of the stars, of the ages, of everything, and we cannot compare to that. Is there more going on here? Oh, certainly. The people have also disobeyed God's order. In Genesis 1:28, God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth and subdue it." Fill the earth and subdue it. We see that again after the flood in Genesis 9. Verse 1, the God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful, increase in number, and fill the earth." Now, that's very different from what we see here at this Tower of Babel, where they said, so that we may make a name for ourselves, otherwise we'll be scattered over the face of the earth. They were avoiding filling the earth. So they were not following God's direction there. They were being disobedient. John 14:15 said, Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commands." Not only the commands that we like, but even the commands that we don't like. And there's a lot of those. Do not worry for Matthew 6. We're not good at that. Do not judge, Matthew 7. We're not good at that. Turn the other cheek. I don't know many people that are good with that. We need to obey all the commands. And at the Tower of Babel, the people did not do that. What's going on? What else is going on here? We do see them putting themselves first again. In Genesis 11:4, part of that, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves." They were thinking of themselves first. They should have put God first. Matthew 6:33 in the Sermon on the Mount says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, then everything else will be added to you as well." Proverbs 3:6 from Solomon, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." Proverbs 16:3, "Commit to the Lord, and your plans will be established." Make a name for ourselves, not at the expense of making God number one in our lives. Remember in Genesis 12, when God is making this covenant with Abram, he says, "I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing." But that's because Abraham was putting God first. Abraham always put God first. In the Tower of Babel incident, people are focused on themselves, not on God. They want to make a name for themselves for the wrong reason. They were making it because they wanted things to be about them. Well, what about for us today? What is our top priority? Is it ourselves, our name, our finances, our house, our influence, our sphere? Is it our job, our status, how much money we have? Or do we truly put God first and say all those other things are going to be subordinate to God? That's what's happening at the Tower of Babel. We see people putting themselves first. We see this sin of pride. We know that pride is one of the things that caused Lucifer, Hasatan, the deceiver, to be cast out of heaven. Isaiah 14, verses 13 through 14, which is attributed to talking about the deceiver, Hasatan. "You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mount of assembly on the heights of Zaphon. I will ascend to the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." Boy, that sounds an awful lot like what we read about with the people in the Tower of Babel. Even that name, Mount Zaphon, the mountain I mentioned earlier, where there is a temple to Baal. This sin of pride. That's what we need to learn from the Tower of Babel. Will we repeat their mistakes and seek our positions first? Or will we truly make God first and let him raise us up and honor us. What does God think when he comes down and sees what we're doing now? Something to think about.